ink, dirty water. iPad, me, paper. No piece of paper is safe with me around it. Okay, let's see. These are some desk pens I have in a drawer in front of me. And let's just see how they are making me feel today. Is this making me feel good? Is it making you feel good? Schaefer pens, 80% of them are firm and only slightly flexible. And you just have to get in that kind of mood. This is the pen you'd use if you wanted to write a letter to your pet cat. Kitty, I've had it up to here. You need to clean the kitty box once a day, whether it needs it or not. This is the pen that you are firm with. That pen doesn't have any nib on it. That's useless. Where are my? Got a drawer full of desk pens here that I can put that in because it's not functioning. This is a Conklin product, a Conklin All-American. And what does it want to write? What is it telling me to do? I have no backbone, people. No one has a smaller backbone than me. No one knows more about backbones than me. It's a Conklin All-American pen, I think. Yes, All-American. It was their budget brand. And this has a perfectly functional nib. It has a little tiny bit of flexibility to it. This is what I'd write to the cat after I stepped on its tail. Dear kitty, I didn't mean to step on your tail. I'm not actually writing that, so don't try to read my writing. I'm writing lol. That's what I'm writing. But that's not very interesting. So it's a very springy nib. Dear kitty, I'm sorry that I stepped on your tail. I should have looked where I was going. Please accept my apologies. P.S. Did you clean your litter box yet? So that would be for that one. This one is missing a nib. That goes over here. This is one of these. You have to write upside. This is one of these pens, these elbow, well, they're called elbow pens sometimes, these offset nibs, which I don't know how to use. So I can't explain that to you. This is a Parker Vacuumatic nib pen, desk pen. I don't have bases for these, so they're just in a flat file drawer. And they're there for no particular reason. I should probably retire these and fill up this drawer with pens I use more. just because the pens I use more are sort of double stacked and they bump into each other. And this is a lovely pen. Now, this is another Schaefer. This one shows this is a feather touch nib, and they're often very fine and rather delicate. And they have a beautiful feel to them. Very smooth. Schaefer pens, in addition to being generally very stiff, are generally very smooth. I almost always will show a Schaefer to a lefty because, no matter how they hold it, the ball at the end of the nib tends to be more rounded than other companies. This is a lovely pen. Very, very delicate line work. So I'm going to keep this one. I think I'll keep this one too, just in case I have to write that letter to the kitty. These I will retire. Here's another Schaefer. Schaefer Balance. And this is this is another good one for writing the stern letter to the kitty. You came home late last night. No more TV for you. Very firm and forceful. Schaefer pens you could also, in an emergency, use as a coat hanger. You can nail them, take a hammer, nail them into the wall, hang your coat on them, pry them out of the wall, and write with them because their nibs are generally very stiff. Hello, Nick. It is 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. This is a Triumph nib pen. This is also a very firm nib. And this goes to a touchdown pen. I don't think I need to have this one at the desk. I think I can put these away. So look, I've gotten rid of these. These will go in my for sale drawer or something. Should I keep this one out? This has a broken end to it. It is quite late. So would you like to join me on cam here, Manik? Conklin has blue ink in it. Sometimes when I have a pen that has a color, this is sort of a green color pen, I'll use green color inks in this. That way I don't have to wash them out so much. So I think I'll put that up there. Gold Bond. Oh, I hope everything is okay with you and your clinic. That can go up there. Chilton, Parker, blue. Let's see what this does. See, blue ink, slightly flexible, like that. This is very flexible, the red one here. This is a Wall Eversharp. Well, it's not that flexible, come to think of it. Oh, good. Conklin. I sometimes use a sepia color ink. So this will be for my sepia color drawings. This is the one I bent and tried to unbend. It was somewhat successful. Green. This is very firm. This is a Swan pen. I don't think that writes any differently than any other pens I've got going here. This is another Chilton that doesn't have a bent nib. So we'll keep that with the Chilton. Oh, more pens are really lovely pens, except they're almost always, their nibs are almost always broken. So it's sort of, I'll keep these here just because oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. The hell is this? I don't know what this is. Nothing I need. Another Swan. Did I break this nib too? Did I bend this one? I don't think I did. Just has this downward bend to it here. Okay, these are all Moores. So I'll just leave the Moores in that drawer. I'll put the Walls down here too. Why not? That way I'll have some order. The 1950s. How old are you now, Manik? Ray of Sunshine. How do you do? Quick Brown Fox. Who wrote all of this stuff? I wonder. Not I. I can read it. If it was me that wrote it, I wouldn't be able to read it. Were it I that wrote it, is that the right way to do it? Desk pens, there it is. There's the drawer with the desk pens. Just going to set all of these in there. Ouch. Desk pen points can hurt. You're 23. Okay. And what do you do in the real world? Are you a student? This is in the extra fine drawer, which is where it belongs, I think. This is a very fine nib. Eversharp Skyline nib in a Eversharp Doric that has a broken clip, but it works. Dental student, oh my God. Well, I'm going to the dentist today. If you were a dental student in the United States, you might very well be at the Tufts New England Dental School, and you might be working on my very teeth. I had been ignoring my teeth, unfortunately, and a lot of my teeth are, well, they're all equally old, well, more or less. They're 65 years old. And I've had lots of cavities and a couple of crowns and a couple more cavities, and then I ignored my going to the dentist for about 5 years, and I finally went back, and I need 10 crowns. And today I'm going to be fitted for one of them, the first of 10. And hopefully that will go well. I don't know if I need 10 really. I mean, how long am I planning on living anyway? I broke my front teeth and had crowns put on when I was in 7th grade. And they are needing to be replaced, but you know, why? Why do I need to get them replaced? Monique, don't get old. Promise me you'll never get old. I mean, why is this here? I don't know why. It's not particularly fine. It doesn't belong in that drawer. Belongs in that drawer. Well, I was surprised when I went into the doctor after 5 years that I did not have any more cavities, any new cavities, but one doctor told me I don't have room for new cavities. But my old cavities are falling out, and so I do need a lot of work, but luckily it's not going to be as expensive because I'm having students doing it. And I'm actually enjoying going to the dentist because they tell me what they're doing. And I find it kind of interesting to learn about my teeth from them. So I'm not, it's not as painful as it used to be. I mean, it's still painful, but I sort of look forward to going. So it's very strange. This is a pen I have up here on my desk because it's a pen I can't really use. The threads are not functional because they're so worn down. It's a Hicks pen pencil combo, and it looks like a pen that a guy that makes boilers for the Cunard shipping company would make in his basement. I don't know how to do a Liverpoolian accent or Belfast or wherever the White Star Line made their ocean liners, but he would say something like, "Oh, I cut off a piece of the steam pipe from boiler number 2 and it was too small to use for anything, so I brought it home and turned it into a fountain pen." And this is what he would have come up with. And it's kind of neat because it's so butch and beefy and matter of fact. Is a slightly springy nib that wants to talk loud, wants to speak loudly. I did file this down. It had some, maybe I didn't file it down very much. Seemed to me that there was some corrosion up here, which often happens with pens that have metal sections, is the ink corrodes the metal. And so I think I took the nib and feed out and sort of ran it back and forth like this on a file to pull down the section so it didn't look so bad. But this is a neat pen because it's all so smooth. The threads are so worn that it's almost a complete smooth transition from the entire barrel. This is one of those pens that fills with a little bulb back here. And there's a pencil at this end. So it's sort of a neat utilitarian pen. You'd see this in the pocket of the foreman on a construction site. Most of the workers would have just a regular wooden pencil, but the foreman would have this metal one. And it's gold fill, but it's still, and it's all dinged up. This is another Hicks, same company. This is a lever filling version, and I did put a dip nib in this one. So this one has a very, very flexible nib on it. It's just amazingly flexible. And I use this sometimes. Hicks pens were made were made into the 50s. Sometimes you can get a pen made by or sold by Tiffany's, I think, that were made by the Hicks company. They made generally mainly metal pens that were quite pretty. I think they were sold through jewelry stores rather than a pen shop. Something just fell behind me. I don't know what it was. This is a pen, an Aurora pen that my father bought me, and it never worked. Never, ever, ever worked. But I really liked it. He bought it for me. I think I was in high school. No, it must have been college. It came in this beautiful box that was a cylinder, metal cylinder, and you'd open it up like this, and you'd have two half cylinders, and this pen was nestled in one. But it had a horrible nib, just a horrible nib, and um, it never worked. It didn't work for me, and it didn't work for my father. So I've put a, I don't know what kind of nib this is in it, but I put a nice nib in it. Where's my loop? Kitty. It's a Merrick fountain pen. I don't even know what the hell that is. I think this pen had a converter in it. It also had, yeah, and it also had cartridges. I love the brakes on it. It's these little clutch things that depress down, and that holds the cap on really tightly, and you can sort of slide it up and down. That was the best part of the pen, but it never worked until I put that nib in it, and it worked a little bit. Okay, come on. Yeah, I have discovered in my school days, when I was in grad school, I was using fountain pens by that time. And when I'm taking notes or paying attention to what a teacher says or a lecture or whatever the thing is, I'm taking notes or I'm planning something, making notes for myself, using a pen like this with a flexible nib, I get distracted and I make pretty things. And so I use a Parker 51 or a Schaefer Triumph nib pen that doesn't have any flexibility at all, so I'm not distracted. And it helps me focus my attention on what I need to focus my attention on. This is a lovely nib and a sort of a lovely pen too. It's a sort of German silver uh, overlay, which is very clunky. It's like the man that built that other one was going to give a present to his wife, so he took another steam pipe from the Queen Mary and drilled holes in it and tried to make it look delicate and lovely, and he came up with this. This, I think, has a really fine prickly nib. Fine, prickly, snappy nib. Oh, well, an Ultra Flex should flex, for God's sake. Manic. I can't write small and and write thin. I have to write fast and write big. When I write small, the thin lines are too thick. Well, I understand. You don't want to think too much. This is a noodler's pen I have that I put a dip nib in. It's kind of neat because it's all, I can't even, I think it's oh, it's one of those kind. This is the first noodler's pen I bought from Nathan. He was a friend of mine. I've known Nathan for more than 30 years. Noodler's Inc., Nathan. And I wish he'd use nickel to make clips. His chrome clips are just too sparkly. Yeah, you don't want to, you want to use good paper. Good paper is an important part of being of good pen hygiene. No, you need good paper. Okay, so this cap does not screw on. It falls right off. So what I'm going to do to make it work, take a piece of paper, this is gummed paper, and I'm going to just see if I can add some more dimension, thicker, to the threads. So just by adding that little tiny bit should, well, add a little bit more. You can always add more. Plumbing tape you could use. Almost. I'm going to use, a little bit of this packing tape. This is not a particularly rare pen. I don't even think it has a name on it. I wouldn't necessarily do this with any pen. I would use it on pens that have, well, I wouldn't do this sort of, if you're not going to use the pen, I don't know whether I'd do this at all. Just put it in your desk drawer or whatever, your display case, and leave it. But if you're going to use a pen, and here I use this at my desk, so I'm not carrying this in my pocket, but I don't want the clip, I don't want it to rattle when I'm using it. I don't like that sound. So, well, that was too much. You see, now that doesn't even screw on. Now it's not screwing off. God, what have I done? Come on, unscrew. Well, don't do this at home. I just fucked this up, I guess. Come on, undo. It's just really tight in there. It's coming out now. Come on. Fuck. Okay, Let's try this again. Ugh. I want a piece that's a little bit bigger, but not as big as I just put in. Come on, Pierre. Okay, that's close enough. Okay, where did the pen go? How does this pen fill? Oh, it says a button on the back. This is a really nice nib I use with red ink. To use red ink in calligraphy is called rubricate. When you have a manuscript and you want to have certain things in red ink, you'd call in the rubricator, the man that would, or it could be the same person that did the other work. But sometimes when manuscripts were made, there was a group of, it was a factory with, sometimes with people doing, one person did the lettering, one person did the illustrations, and maybe one person would do the faces on the angels or whatever they were doing. One person would do the gold leafing. So it was quite a production. Yeah, it was really, really nice seeing her, and I hope that she will visit again. I see that that particular video had 707 views, so she must have told her friends to watch it or something, because I've never had more than maybe 100 views on my videos. So I really enjoyed talking with her. She wants me to maybe be a guest on her program and teach her how to do some calligraphic stuff, which I'd be happy to. I'm happy to do it on my channel too. If someone wants me to sort of give them pointers, you can sign up over here and I'll be over there. Hello, Osni. Good. I'm good. How are you? I still want you to show up here on my channel at some point, Osni. We've known each other for a long enough time. You know I don't bite. Ooh, this is a big, broad nib. This is a nib that someone fixed for me and added iridium, and it's big and moppy, and it doesn't work very well. Well, you can watch a repeat. I used to drill holes in the Frankenpen nibs, the Frankenpens that I would make. I would drill holes in the Victorian dip nibs thinking that would help them flow, and it really didn't work for me. And so rather than, quote, destroying the nibs, I don't do that anymore. But since I generally just dip the pens when I'm here at my desk anyway, I don't really need them to have a breather hole. They come in handy when you're writing page after page after page after page after page, because you want to get air back in the pen sac to keep the pen flowing. This is Aurora Pen. Does it have an Aurora nib? It's Aurora enough. This is what would I write with this pen. My dear Queen. Something very regal and fancy. My dear Princess. When you tire of the handsome prince, please give him my phone number. Thank you. Your humble subject, Peer. What do you think? Do you think I'm going to get a handsome prince? Are there any handsome princes out there? I don't want to diss the British royal family, but they don't do it for me, those princes. They're just too blonde. Or too gingery or too bald. Give me an Italian prince. Are you a prince, Osney? Do you have royal blood? Well, you can have the princesses. I want the prince. If he comes with a castle, that makes it even better. Well, when did you have the last king? When did Italy have? He must be 5,000 years old or something. Unless did they reinstate the monarchy after Il Duce was shot and hoisted? This is a majestic pen. A pen collector, no pen collector would ever buy this pen because it's a third tier pen or even fourth tier, but this pen works well for me to make Franken pens with. So I'm happy to buy these. They work relatively well. Well, he has a fancy name. Emanuele Filiberto di Savoia. Let's see if he's cute. Oh, Emmanuel Filippo. Oh, Filberto. Filberto di Savoia. Well, he'll do. Prince of Venice. Va bene. Who's this dame? Who's this dame with Emmanuel Filippo? What's what is his what are his arms doing around that dame? They're supposed to be around me. Dear Emmanuel, I saw you with that dame on the internet. I'm jealous. You're supposed to be lavishing all of your attention on me. So I have got 3 pens that are sort of similar. They're all made by, they're made sort of by the same company. One is called, they're all have different, this is a Majestic, this is a Congress, and this is an Ambassador. They all came from the same building. They just stuck different clips on them. Emanuele. It sounds like it's a girl. Would it be Emanuela if it was a dame? Princess Emanuela? Ooh, this is a sweet pen. Is this the one I just used? My dear, my sweet Emanuela. E-L-E. Manuela. Why haven't you sent me those love letters? Remember, I have those pictures of us in the large bucket of chocolate. Would you like me to send those to the press? Please respond as soon as you can. I'm sure that I'm going to be killed for saying things like this about, I'm sure that His Majesty knows I'm joking. I think it's in focus. I think the camera focuses on my scribbling. It doesn't understand what it's supposed to do, so it focuses on where there's most contrast. Well, Manik, it was good having you, and let's have you face to face. Join sometime when you can. I should get my act together here too. So I'm putting this away, and I'm going to say goodbye so I can do some work. So see you all later. Bye, Osni.